If you're considering filing for bankruptcy, one of the more important issues you have to consider is how much money you are going to pay, or whether you can afford to pay, a bankruptcy attorney to assist you with your bankruptcy case. My name is Jonathan Alper, and I've been filing in bankruptcies and assisting bankruptcy debtors in the Orlando, Florida area for over 20 years. And today I want to share with you briefly my observations about the wide variation of bankruptcy fees in our area and likely in other areas of the state as well. I've seen ranges for Chapter 7 attorney's fees going on the low end under $1,000 to upwards of $2,500 and $3,000 for very similar cases. How does one account for such a wide range of fees being charged for different attorneys? Of course, each case has its own facts. In some cases, bankruptcy cases are harder than others, and sometimes the inexperienced attorneys don't understand the complexity of the cases they're getting into and may charge less money, where a more experienced attorney will see the issues and anticipate problems and file more. But I think or charge more. But I think it's more than that. I think that two things determine the attorney fee level. One, of course, is the experience of the attorney. Bankruptcy is a complex area of the law, and there's nothing better than experience to learn this area and learn how the different trustees and judges in our area treat different cases. So therefore, people who have been practicing bankruptcy as attorneys for many years are going to charge more than someone who's just getting into the practice. Ask yourself, whatever you do you know as much, or did you know as much when you first started your profession or business as you know now? Of course not. So the more experienced attorney will likely charge more and have higher fees, and you should expect that. The other variation is different attorney law firms will have different practices and policies about how they process bankruptcy cases. On the low end of the fee scale are your so-called bankruptcy mills that have a business model that involves a high volume of bankruptcies that they quickly get through the office. And in these cases, there's limited contact between the client and the attorney. And in some cases, the client never meets the attorney until the meeting with the trustee after the case is filed. These offices will charge less money. On the other end, there are law firms that have one or two or even several meetings between the attorney or their paralegal and the client. It's more of a hands-on and repeated interaction kind of practice. And for that kind of relationship, because of the time it involves, those attorneys are going to charge more. You need to decide, are you more interested in a lower cost bankruptcy that may involve less attorney time, or are you willing to pay more for more of a hand-holding and more intimate relationship between you and your attorney? On Chapter 13s, it's a lot easier, because on Chapter 13, the fees are set by the local court. So, for example, in our jurisdiction, there is a presumed reasonable fee of about $4,500 for Chapter 13 bankruptcies. Why so much? Because Chapter 13 bankruptcies are much harder than Chapter 7. And many attorneys who practice in bankruptcy don't even attempt to do Chapter 13 because they're so difficult. So you will find much less variation in the Chapter 13 fees. Some firms charge a little less. Some firms will try to get something more for complicated cases. But the variation between people who do Chapter 13 is much smaller. So I understand it's not easy to navigate the attorney's fee thicket and to choose the right attorney. But get the attorney who has the type of service and experience that makes you comfortable and someone you have confidence in. If you would like some more information about attorney's fees or filing bankruptcy in Orlando area, please give me a call. My number is 407-444-0404. And thanks for watching.